Right then, welcome back to another vid. This is some multiplayer beta gameplay of Titanfall, a game which is due out on March the 11th, and, well, I should say March 11th for the Xbox One, and I think PC, and Xbox 360 a week or two later. I think it was originally due to come out on the 11th, but it's been delayed by a couple of weeks. So yeah, this is a game which is apparently going to be the next big thing when it comes to first-person shooters, and particularly online first-person shooters. And it's a game I've been aware of for quite a while. And I was watching a vid the other day, I can't remember who was making it, but they were saying that the multiplayer beta has gone up, and if you want to take part in it, then click on like a link below, which was essentially just a link to the website, and you could be selected to take part. So I thought, well, do you know what, why not? You know, I do like a first-person shooter for my sins. I do like going online with the multiplayer aspect, so let's give it a go. If I get into the beta, great. If I don't, I honestly wasn't bothered. But, sure enough, the next day, I had an email to say that I'd been selected, I'm sure along with another 8 million people, so I didn't feel too privileged. But yeah, the email came through saying you'd been selected to play the beta, so I thought I'd download it. Great, why not? So it took about 15 minutes on the Xbox One to download. And yeah, I just thought I'd give a few impressions. Now, I've only had about 5 or 6 games. This is my very first one. And as you can see, it's kind of like a cross between Call of Duty and Halo. So this is my very first game here, trying to kill, well, I was a teammate there, and he was kind of using a cloak mode, which is similar to Crysis 2, which incidentally, I think was the last beta gameplay I ever did on my channel, about 3 years ago. So I realised that he had the cloak thing, I thought I'd put it on, and then I get my first 2 kills, and a double kill at that. My first ever kills there, captured for eternity. And then I think I get another one in a second, then I got a little bit too greedy, and paid the price somewhat. But yes, as you can see, Titanfall is essentially a cross between, say, Call of Duty, that's the obvious comparison, and a Halo. Halo in the sense that it's, you know, the outer spacey kind of environment. And Call of Duty in the sense that, it's just a first-person shooter online, and I think Call of Duty is the one which everyone always brings to mind, you know, when you're talking about online first-person shooters. And interestingly enough, this game is also made by 2 of, I think, the founding members of Infinity Ward, responsible for Modern Warfare 2, and, well, in fact, I just think Call of Duty in general. And, yeah, so they've formed this new company, which is called Respawn Entertainment, I think, I'm not quite certain. Would help if I had my facts, but I guess you're not really that bothered. But anyway, Respawn Entertainment, I think is what you call them. And, yeah, this is their kind of version. So the game, as a result, feels very similar in feel, that kind of fluidity when you're moving around, very similar to Call of Duty. It's got that quick, sharp movement. So if you're familiar with that game, and a lot of people are, online or offline, then you're probably going to pick this one up straight away. It's that kind of I was going to say feel good, not particularly feel good, more like it feels good rather than a feel good game. So an interesting thing that I've heard about this game prior to playing it, and it did kind of put me off before I played it myself, was it's a 6v6 game, or at least that's the impression that we were given. And that doesn't sound a lot, you know, because some of these maps are quite large, nothing too amazing, but big enough. And I thought, well, how is 6v6 going to work? It's not really going to be that great. But it isn't really 6v6, let me explain. So anyone who says it's 6v6, it's rubbish, it's not quite true. So you get 6 human-controlled players on each team, and you can call in these Titans, as I'm in one of these now, after you've got a certain amount of points or kills, or whatever it is. So, essentially, what you could have is you can have 6 controlled human players on each team, so there's 12, and then each one could theoretically have a Titan. So straight away, double that, you've got 24 potentially human players on the screen at any one time. In saying that, sometimes you can have a little bit more because you can get out of your Titanfall. Just because you call out your Titan, I should say. Just because you call in a Titan, it doesn't mean to say you've got to get in it. You can have it walking around, doing its own thing. You can get in it. You can climb out of it at any stage. So again, that kind of slightly moves away from that whole 6v6 thing. And on top of that, what you get is you get some cannon fodder in the form of grunts and spectres. I think there may be something else as well. And those are essentially computer-controlled AI bots. And I think I haven't quite worked it out yet, because I've only had a few games, but I think there's maybe 6 of those per team as well. So really, when you add that all together, it's not 6v6. In fact, here's a couple of bots that I was killing there. They're a little bit useless, particularly the grunts. You should easily kill them. The spectres are a little bit harder, and therefore a little bit more challenging. So yeah, anyone who says it's 6v6, that just isn't true. It's 6 human control players, like I say, with the option of the Titans added on as well, and the bots which make up the rest of the map. So, yeah, a bit of an interesting spin. Now, some people are complaining about that. They're saying, oh, well, the bots are rubbish, they don't pose much of a challenge. And that's kind of true. They are pretty much cannon fodder. But an angle that I'm looking at it from, and I'm pretty convinced that Respawn did this deliberately, just to try and entice and encourage more people to play it. And this is my theory behind it. I think a lot of people are put off playing online first-person shooters, be it Halo, COD, Killzone, whatever it is, Far Cry, take your pick. A lot of people are put off playing those games because they're not good enough. You know, they're just casual players, and when you play online, look at this bit, by the way, I was stuck. So how the hell do you get out? I do get out any second now. Honestly. There we go, finally. And that's by using like a dash button as well. You get like a limited kind of amount of sprints that's got to regenerate after you use it. So anyway, yeah, a lot of people are put off playing online because it's so competitive. And a lot of people love the idea of going online, you know, the whole kind of 6v6, 12v12, 64v64 for a battlefield or whatever it is. But because people are so good and because people take it so seriously, then it can ruin and tarnish, I think, the experience of going online. The fun goes out of it. Now, you're still going to have, because you've got the 6 human control players on each team, you're still going to have that competitive edge. But by implementing the bots, what you find is that you will probably kill them more often than not. However skilled you are as an online first-person shooter, you will kill them more often than not, which will mean come the end of the game that, yeah, you know, the human control players may well have killed you quite often, but you would have quite a decent kill-to-death ratio, maybe even in a plus, because of the bots, the grunts and the spectras, and everything else for that matter. So it's kind of trying, if you like, Respawn Entertainment, I think trying to even or level, I should say, the playing field, or even the playing field, whatever phrase you want to use. And I think it kind of works. You know, you're always going to have a situation where you take something online and someone's going to be better than you. But by putting in these bots, I think it's trying to encourage and entice people who maybe are put off from playing online games to give this a try. And I think it's a good idea. But as ever, a lot of people are complaining, saying that the bots are rubbish, they're easy to kill, which they are, and saying that it's a waste of time. But it isn't. I think that's the reason, like I say, why they're put into the game. It's there to encourage people who aren't very good online to try and play this, because you are going to get kills by killing the bots. But again, that's just my little theory. Now, I should say, and you may have noticed it actually in the previous kind of 30-60 seconds, what was going on is after you have completed a game, whether you've been victorious or whether you've been defeated, this essentially mini-game comes up. And if you, like in the previous game, have been defeated, then the idea is you get given 1 life, everyone on the team is given 1 new life, and you've got to get to your dropship, your mothership, if you like, to give you a lift home. Very generous of them, to get out of enemy kind of territory and get back to where you belong. And it's kind of like a sudden death thing, so you're given 1 chance, and if you fail, like I did on that one, because I didn't have a clue what I was doing, like I say, it was the first ever game that I'd ever played, and I was just running around still trying to kill people, but the idea is to run away and get to your base. And similarly, if you've been victorious in the main game, look at this, by the way, this happens, ridiculous, and you see me like leaping in onto his screen. Although weirdly, it had me kind of facing the other way, but as I was looking at it, I was looking at him, shooting him, but okay, it's a beta, maybe, you know, these things happen and all these little tweaks will be ironed out. Or maybe I'm just making excuses for a rubbish aim. Anyway, so yeah, if you've been victorious in the main game, then it's switched round and you've got to prevent them, the enemy that is, from getting to their mothership. And it's a nice little thing to add on. I don't really think the kills count or anything like that. And this is kind of funny. This is kind of highlights the bots, how a bit silly they are. But in saying that, I get a little bit greedy, because I think there's 4 of them there. And one of them gets me. And you can see on the left where it says IMC Grunt, so you can tell it's not a human control player. If it's a human control player, then the username will come up, and you'll easily identify that when you see it. So yeah, as you can see as well, it's kind of like a melee. You can use a knife, or you can kick people, which doesn't seem particularly aggressive, but I don't know, maybe they're extremely, I don't know, tough, extra leather-clad boots, I've no idea, steel-capped, maybe. But yeah, you can use that. Now, another cool thing as well is the leverage that you can get on this. And it's just by, essentially everyone's got like a jetpack, if you want to look at it like that. And you jump in the air, you got your jetpack. Now, if you kind of double boost, double jump by pressing the button twice, you get extra height as well. So you can go higher and higher and higher. As long as there's some kind of leverage there, some kind of vantage point, then you can jump onto it and use it to your advantage. And it just, again, it just adds to the gameplay. It's nothing particularly original, all this boosting and double boosting, and you can do wall climbing as well for limited times. But it really adds to the terrain and mixes things up a little bit more. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. Can't even remember what I was originally talking about. I think it was the mini games. But yeah, if it was the mini games, that's a nice little thing to put on. I don't think the kills count toward just stats or anything like that. But it's just something good, just as a nice little extra to try and freshen things up a little bit. Now, I may already have touched upon this, but if not, I will elaborate on it, because I do think it's important to mention this, and that is that Titanfall is a multiplayer game. It's not a single-player game. There is no campaign to it. You know, it's not like a spacey shoot-'em-up like Halo, as I keep saying, which has its campaign and it has its multiplayer. Obviously, more people play Halo for its multiplayer, but at least the campaign is there for those people who prefer the single-player option, if you like. This doesn't have one. Now, there are elements incorporated into the multiplayer, which kind of give it a story-driven mode, but essentially it is a multiplayer game. Whichever way you want to gloss it up, whichever way you want to dress it up, it's similar to the likes of Homefront, MAG on the PlayStation 3, Warhawk, I think that was another PS3 one, in the sense that it's online only. So if you don't like online games, then this isn't going to be for you. But like I say, it kind of evens itself out. There's a level playing field in regards to the abilities of the bots, which are essentially kind of cannon fodder. Again, as I touched upon before. So it should try and it should work, really. It should entice people who aren't very good at multiplayer games, who are usually put off. It should encourage them to give this a go and to like it as well. And I mean, even in these Titans, what you can have, if you, I think it's the LB button, I can't quite remember. In fact, it is. You can kind of see it sort of the bottom left there. When the opposition is shooting at you, particularly like the heavy armour, you can use this kind of vortex mode, I think it's called, and it essentially kind of grabs all the bullets and then you can throw it back at them. So it's a nice little kind of clever touch, you know, to deflect all that potential damage. So there's lots of balancing in the game, which should encourage people to play it. But yeah, there's no getting around the fact that this is an online-only game. So if you don't like that kind of thing, then this, unfortunately, I guess, may not be for you, but I'd say at least give it a go, because it's trying to bring something new. It kind of does to the first-person genre. You know, it's very hard to be innovative in this kind of genre, really. You know, what more can you do? You run around a map, you shoot the enemy, you've got your double jumping and your wall running, which is kind of cool. You can leap out. This is a nice little feature. And you can still do the double jumps as well when you're leaping out, and that gets you some nice vantage points. So yeah, nice little touches in the game. Graphically, I think it looks good. I don't think it looks absolutely amazing. I love the neon kind of colours everywhere, but then I'm a fan of that in general anyway, so I think that looks good. But speaking of multiplayer, one thing I will say, and this could just be me because maybe I'm a lunatic, even at my age, in my mid-30s, I absolutely get infuriated beyond belief, and I literally mean infuriated beyond belief, so stressed out when I'm playing the likes of COD online, and I think it's because it's so competitive, essentially. And more often than not, I will finish there or thereabouts at the top of a leaderboard, but it still annoys me, the spawn system, the cheating, the camping, all that kind of stuff. And again, I know I'm repeating myself, this is a nice little shot there, and a human control player as well, not a bot. So yeah, I know I'm repeating myself, but one of the nice things I like about this game is the fact that it does have the bots. It slightly takes away that competitive edge. It makes it more fun. And what I've noticed, and admittedly I've only had 4, 5, 6 games of Titanfall, but what I personally have noticed is that I haven't got stressed out. Not even in the slightest. It's Call of Duty, man. I'm telling you, Call of Duty there's something in it. You know, they talk about putting all these additives into food and chemicals into drinks that make you hyper. They must put something into Call of Duty. I don't know what it is, but that just makes people go insane. It really, honestly. Well, I say honestly, I'm not really being honest. But it's weird how that works. Call of Duty is a stress fest, but I do enjoy playing it, and I'll do more, you know, COD gameplays in the future. But I've got to be honest, I'm playing this a lot more, or I'm enjoying it a lot more, I should say. I've not been stressed out, I've been enjoying it. You know, when I've got the human control player has got me, or even a bot, it doesn't bother me. It's like, well, fair enough. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. And I think that's a huge advantage, I think, to this game. And it could help a lot of people out, you know, who are desperately really seeking an alternative to COD. But there's nothing else out there. We all complain about COD if we're first-person shooter online fans. But really, there's like Killzone, but it's very lightweight for me, Killzone. I didn't really like Killzone 2 or 3. Got them both, but I really got into it. There's something about it. And same with Battlefield. I mean, I like it. Battlefield 4, I've got it. I occasionally play it. I want to try and get into it, but it's lacking something. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. I'm not really sure. Look at this bit, by the way. It was the end of the game, and I was desperately trying to run away from that Titan, just doing a bit of jumping and all that kind of stuff. So that was that, just a couple of quick games. I say quick, the vid's lasted nearly 20 minutes. And then what I'm going to see now, or what you're going to see I should say, is, or what we're all going to see, is a few little pointless stat screens, just for anyone who likes that kind of thing. Another thing which you're not going to see, I don't think they are in the beta, but they will be in the full game. If they're in the beta, I just haven't seen them yet, is burn cards. And burn cards are essentially like random perks, which you can use. I think you can choose up to 3 per game. Once you get killed in the game, they're gone, but until you do, so if you remain alive throughout the duration of the game, which obviously will be tricky, then you can keep all your perks. And they're just random stuff, like any game has got, which will increase your strength, maybe decrease the time it takes to call in your Titan, just give you different weapons, more powerful things, etc, etc. So again, nice little things to be expected, I guess, but they can really be game changers. And even if you're a good player, or a bad player for that matter, if you have some of these burn cards, then once again, you know, it really helps kind of level that playing field, which I think Titanfall are really trying to do. So that's about that now. At the end of this vid, just for the last, 30, 60 seconds, I'm going to include a few little clips on, which I just thought were quite funny. Now, this first one coming up, I was on a really bad run. It was quite near the start of the game. I think I was going, at this point, none in 4. And I noticed these 3 guys run out in front of me. Now, these are all bots, like we were talking about before. So I just got one of them, get the second one eventually, and then get the third one really quickly. So all of a sudden I went from being none and 4 to 3 and 4, so it was pretty good. Now this one, anyone who plays Call of Duty, camper, see you later. Hiding in the corner, why do people do that? And that was a human control player as well. There's no excuse in a game like Titanfall to do that. It's completely ridiculous. Just play the game, just run around, you know, why not? And with the bots, like I keep saying, you can really get your high kill-to-death ratios. There's no need for that. Now, this one made me laugh as well, because I'm in the Titan, this bloody powerful thing with huge weaponry, and this little guy here is trying to get me. Now, how is he not dying? This is ridiculous. Now, eventually, I'd fire a few more shots in here, then I go to the other window, and then it's not getting him. I use my LB button, which is like how my special, my RB button, I think. There you go, all those rockets. I think I'm not going to get him, it's not going to work. I'm going to jump out, so very tactical, jump out, shotgun at the ready, and I get him. Again, another human control player. And it always feels really good when it's a human control player as opposed to a bot. And then this one's funny, look at that, their teammate is just about to get the kill, and I blatantly steal it. That's the worst one ever. The worst steal of a kill you will ever see. And there's another one here, which one am I putting in? Oh, I think this one is just, yeah, I call him my Titan. And what you're going to see here is 2 Titans that I'm going to take down. One of them is just, I think it's on its last legs anyway. So I use my speed boost there, it's like a dash. You get 2 boosts and they've got to recharge, and obviously once they recharge, you can use them again. So yeah, this Titan's on its last legs. I'm going to pretty easily finish this one off. And that takes care of that. But then immediately to the left, as we'll see any second now, another one's there, facing the other way, thankfully, didn't know I was there. And what I'm going to do, I don't really know how I did it. I don't know whether it's kind of random or whether I just pressed the button at the right time, maybe to, in close proximity. But I pull the driver, or the operator, out of the, there we go, and then just throw him. Which is a nice little touch, and it's happened to me before, so it felt good again to do it to someone else. I don't know, like I say, whether it's randomised or not, but it's a nice little thing to add. So anyway, that's it, Titanfall, the beta. I'm really liking it. Is it a game changer? Kind of. It's going to be difficult for it, I think, to appeal to everybody, but I will be buying it. I think it is a good game with a lot of potential. It is online only, though. That could be its downfall for Titanfall, if you like. But yeah, I do recommend it. Give it a try. Thanks for watching. See you later.